Caution is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Arkham Horror 3rd Edition. Goddamn, my cat just freaked me out. Alright, so, basically this is the,
3rd edition.
Yeah, this is the 3rd edition. I'm trying to think of where to start with this, because there's a lot that they do different in this edition over 2nd edition. But I will say nothing in this game is original ideas. Like, everything that they have, like the mechanics in the game, they took from their other games. So it's not like they stole from, like, other companies. It's basically learned from all their other games and incorporated into this, because 2nd edition was so clunky. Eldritch Horror became clunky, even though it was supposed to be streamlined. When Eldritch Horror came out, they were like, no, this isn't going to be like Arkham Horror. We're going to keep it streamlined and simple. Hi, Link! And then they just kept pumping out expansions and adding more and more, and it's just like, okay, well, this is just as convoluted as Arkham Horror at this point. So, what I am going to do is we are going to talk about the things that are different in this that they did versus Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, and we're going to talk about if we like them.
They made you cut out pieces of board.
What? That is actually the obvious one, a modular board. What do you think of the fact that it's a modular board instead of just a regular board? Like, Eldritch Horror had the whole map.
I know.
I'm just, they may not.
Get with it.
And Arkham Horror had Arkham, with literally just like circles for their spots and then just this lame-ass town. These lines that determined how to get from place to place. Do you like the modular board?
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat because the game is scenario-based versus just, hey, here's your game, play it. Yeah, I like the modular board. I think it can add to... It feels more, I think, like a town. For some reason, like, you have the street locations and stuff like that. I don't know, I think they kind of took their idea of Eldritch, we know it's the different cities you can go to and go by train or by sea, I really like the modular board. Granted, I always like modular boards. Granted, my initial thought with the game was you actually explored out. So you started in one, you just added tiles as you went. They didn't do that, but yeah, these are double-sided, so there are like Southside and the Miskatonic University and other places that are familiar if you're in the game.
I think if they were going to do something like that, they would have to do a lot of different tiles.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise it'd be like, I don't care. I just want to find downtown.
That's true. Yeah, no, I agree. I think they went the right way with this one. Or they would have had to do basically mansions and just redo that, which they're not going to. They're just going to keep pumping out expansions for that. Not that I'm opposed to it.
Which is fine.
Okay, so the modular board. But, so we like that. What do you think? Here's the biggest difference, honestly, between this game and the other ones, is this one is scenario-based. Unlike Arkham Horror and Eldritch, where it was just, here's your game, here's your ancient one you're trying to stop, move around, find clues, and do that. This one actually has a scenario that you start with certain cards from this archive deck, which they took from their Fallout game. If you've played their Fallout game, you're going to easily recognize this. It's just a deck of, essentially, story elements that they take, similar to the encounters in Fallout, where it's like, okay, this happened, pull card 12, and now this is what's going on. Or pull card, 19 and 30, and add those, and then you have those, and they kind of unravels the story of the scenario you're in. And the base game comes with 4 scenarios. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like it.
You like the scenarios?
Yeah, I can't wait for them to make more, because of course, if you just blow through it, you're like...
And right. So I have mixed feelings about it. I like the scenarios. I think that's really, really neat. And this is our second time doing this one. And we even cheated to just win it, because last time we played, we just got our ass kicked.
No, we just went back in time and we did it.
You're right. There was, but I mean, whatever. I couldn't care less about that one turn away.
We've already lost once.
Yeah. So it was a faux win. But it's bittersweet because if with scenarios, and this is the same way for mansions for me, is that great, we've done this one. I don't want to do this one again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now I have 3 more to do. And yeah, and luckily, we won't blow through these 4 because we just play so many games all the time, it's hard for us to come back to them again. Unless we are like, oh, hey, I want to do the next one. So luckily, if you space it out, 4 is enough. But if you don't have a lot of board games, 4 won't be enough. And that's where I think it also hurts it, because in Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror, it was always new content. Yeah, the game was the same, and the game's the same here, but you never ran out of Mythos cards, or you never ran out of Encounter cards. It was just always fresh and something different. So I like it, but I still think I prefer the open world of Arkham Horror 2nd Edition and Eldritch Horror. I don't know, what do you think? Do you like this better than just, hey, here's your ancient one? Because you don't know how to win in these, which I do like. I think that's neat. I feel it's more thematic, I think, with the scenarios, but it almost has to be. Like, if it wasn't thematic, it'd be like, well, what the fuck is this? It's the point of this lame-ass scenario. So I think they did a good job with this opening one. It's just a ritual that you have to go figure out where it's at to stop Azathoth, versus the other ones of just, in all reality, gather clues and prevent in Eldritch, it's just solve 3 mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Arkham is just, oh man, it's been a while. There are a couple ways you can kill the ancient one, or try to, or I think it was like get 5 closed gates, or have no gates on the board, or something like that.
Something like that, but it's in tandem with something else, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. So, what do you think? You like the scenarios more?
I do.
You do? Yeah. Okay. Even though it kind of lessens replayability?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think a normal person doesn't play board games as much as you do.
Well, normal people don't play games like this
So,
anyway.
I mean, but like, it is kind of a good group activity. Like, it was fun, just you and me, but like, it is fun to have more than just 2 people playing. So I think, sometimes it's hard to get a group together like that, or people like designate certain like times of the month, like, oh, we're gonna have game night tonight, then we'll do it. Then if you're doing that, like, theoretically, that's 4 months of gameplay.
Yeah,
and then
true.
by the time they're probably gonna pump out expansion on
10
top
expansions
of
in about 4
yeah.
months. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think for a game night, I think it's also easier to draw people in versus just, because Eldritch Horror and Arkham can be very daunting. Of just like, oh my god, what's all this stuff, all these cards, all these tokens. Yeah, I think a scenario setting is better that way. Okay, alright. So that's the biggest difference between this and the other editions.
I wish they would have spruced up some characters. Wish they would have added maybe a
couple more characters?
Yeah.
Well, there's all these.
They're new?
Oh, no, they're all the same.
Yeah, I think.
Like,
yeah. Wish they would have added characters.
Yeah, I think at this point it's it's everyone from the lore, so yeah, you are gonna always see the same people.
Which is fine, because it's kind of that, familiar face, like,
yeah,
oh, we got him again.
You put him back in the world, and
Except
you're like...
apparently they fucked Rex Murphy. So...
They really did, like, he is permanently blessed.
Permanently cursed.
While resolving it, only 6 you cannot become blessed or cursed. Yeah, that sucks. I mean, they made it more thematic. So let's see. I'm gonna ramble off some differences. So you like this deck, like the fact that this goes through. I do too, and I think that's probably the only good thing about the Fallout board game. What do you think about how clues come out? Because in Arkham Horror, you just get them.
Mm-hmm.
Eldritch Horror, you have a clue encounter. If you're in a spot with a clue, you have a clue encounter. What do you think of the fact that, that clues get shuffled into the encounter decks?
I mean, I guess that does make it more realistic. Because, like, you're not just going to walk into a room and be like, a clue! You're going to have to look around.
Yeah.
Thematically, you're going to have to actually want it.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything hidden isn't just going to be out in the open.
Right. I think in the other games, especially Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, where you just got them, or if they popped up in your spot, you just grabbed them, it was like to thematically represent that you were spending time, so it was just kind of like, it was just cutting out the middleman and just being like, hey, you get it. The game was already hard enough as it is. Eldritch Horror, I think Eldritch Horror still did it better because you had to have a specific encounter. Like, you didn't have to hope that you found it. So, while I agree with you, it is more thematic, and I like it for that, I think it's probably my least favorite thing about the game. Because, Devin said it last time, as Rex Murphy, his whole center of, as a character, is centered around research and finding clues. And the fact that all you can do is just hope that the card comes up, and hope that you can meet the requirement, and if you can't, then you're just like, well, I'm fucking useless. It sucks to be that person. Or if you run to, like, downtown hoping to find these clues, and, oh, nope, this card isn't it, you almost, at least for me, I didn't care, like, what was happening if it wasn't the clue card.
Yeah.
Like, whenever we were both in downtown, and it was like, great, that wasn't the fuck it. Like, we need these clues at this point. It was becoming frustrating. And whenever we played this last time, when Devin was like, he only succeeded on 6s. Granted, he got all the cards in the world that helped him re-roll and mitigate his luck. It doesn't matter if you don't draw the cards that help you get the clues. So, I think it's incredibly frustrating. While thematic, it's still my least favorite part about the game. So yeah, and if you don't know, if you watch the run through, you didn't. Clue cards come from this event deck, which spawn based off of this Mythos tokens, which I'll explain, which we'll probably go to next, and then they get shuffled as the top 2. So you know it will at least be the top 3, one of the top 3 cards. So at most you're going to have 3 encounters, but that sucks because that means you're just wandering around the same area. And if there's no Doom tokens, you're literally just, guess I'll go here. Guess I'll go here, and you're becoming increasingly useless to the team.
Which luckily there's always something to ward, so at least you kind of feel like...
Yeah, that you are helping, and you really are, like, even if it's like, I'm only removing 1 ward, it's like, good, because if 3 spots are in, or 3 Doom are in a spot, an anomaly shows up. If 5 total are in a neighborhood, an anomaly shows up, and those suck, because then Doom just ramps onto the scenario card. And that happens so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, oh, great, yeah, no, we're kicking ass, and we were, then it's just like, oh, 3 happened, and then, oh, gate burst, boom, now here's 3 immediately on this spot. So if you even let up once, you are hosed. Or if you let cultists live, then it's like, fuck! Then it becomes, you just, things spiral out, and that's how every Arkham and Eldritch is. If you're not on top of it, it will spiral out of control, and then you are just playing catch-up. Which is thematic, and I like it. At the end of the day, even though I'm frustrated, I still love it. So there's only really a couple things that... okay, so here's a quick one. There are no gates in this game, and there were gates in Eldritch and Arkham, and to close them, you had to go and have an otherworld encounter. Do you like that? Do you like the anomalies over the gates?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. I thought the gates were cool and thematic, and you got to have this weird otherworldly encounter that was like, oh my god, what's happening here?
That you might get lost in.
Yeah, and I felt, in Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, it was, you could be lost in space or time and then disappear, and you're all fucked up. Eldritch Horror, you actually had otherworldly, like, specific encounters with choices as well. The Anomaly deck isn't bad. It's based off how much Doom is in your spot, and that's a way to remove Doom, which I like that, but I think it actually lacks theme. I wasn't as engrossed into the story with the anomalies versus the otherworld encounters. So, I don't hate them, and they are helpful, and they do kind of make sense, because, hey, anomalies, weird things are happening in this neighborhood, but I just like the idea of gates over over anomalies. So that was a quick one. What was I going to say next? Oh, the event deck. So, no, not the event deck. Sorry, the Mythos Cup. Do you like this, or do you like a Mythos deck? Arkham Horror, it was literally just a Mythos deck.
I'll only say that I like the Mythos deck more because passing the cup around got really fucking boring.
It does get old.
I was like, I don't want to have that cup handed to me one more time just to hand it back.
I mean, you could easily do a bag where you can toss the bag to someone, but yeah.
So, like, it was just, I just didn't.
It's just like, oh my god, just handing it back and forth. So they took this token idea from their card game, but it was more, there was really a Mythos phase, the tokens in the card game are your tests. There aren't die rolls or anything like that, but they still have the drawn tokens. I don't know. I think this is harsher. I think the tokens are way more mean than any Mythos card can be.
They're more frequent.
And I do feel like that
Mr. Hyde drew 2 newspaper headlines.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it sucks. And yeah, there are blanks.
Only one to draw newspaper headlines.
Yeah, so I don't like this more than the other two. So Arkham Horror 2nd Edition just had the deck, and there could be weather effects or other effects, like some were one time, but at that point the Mythos deck is like this fucking big. I think Eldritch Horror did it way better. Each ancient one had their own Mythos deck organization. They didn't have their own cards, but they had their own. You have level 1, and you have 1 blue and 3 yellow and 1 green, and that's level 1. You shuffle, and then you go through that tier system, where it should have just gotten worse and worse as the Mythos deck went on. I like that way better. I think this is a neat idea. But I just think it's way harsher, because every turn everyone's drawing 2, and that's bad. So I feel like you're constantly trying to play catch up with the, oh look, I drew 2, hey, 2 blanks, yay. Okay, well the blanks are out now, so great burst. Oh, 2 monsters spawn, instead of just having cards where it's like, okay, well here's my Mythos deck. All right, in Eldritch Horror anyway, it's like, okay, clues show up, monsters spawn, and then this happens, then the effect. I like that way better than the Mythos Cup. Let's see. Okay, so that was pretty much it. The monsters are there. They're just not tokens. They're cards with their own kind of effects. That didn't really change much. Now, those were the main big differences between this and the other game. What do you what don't you like about this game?
I mean, I like it.
You like it? Okay. What do you think about the Doom tokens? They took that directly from their card game.
Really?
Oh yeah, because in the card game you have like a scenario and an act, and over time, Doom will get added to one of the cards, and it has a threshold. So you're on a timer, kind of. Similar to this one, where it was like, okay, if there's 7 Doom on this, then you'll flip it, and then something will happen. Whereas you have to place clues on the act, and once you have a certain number of clues, you advance it. So it's similar very much to this, where it's like, hey, once there are 3 clues here, flip it. And then, oh, once there's 3 Doom, flip it, read this card, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think they're just part of the game. Just like, I mean, it's kind of like asking me, hey, do you like the Doom counter? Like, no. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, do you like that mechanism, or do you just like the free-flowing...
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. I mean, that's literally what I was asking you.
I mean, it's not remarkable, it's not unremarkable, it's a mechanic.
Yep. Man, starting to give Devin answers here.
I mean,
it does what it needs.
Well,
yeah.
It doesn't, like, I'm just the wrong person to ask about mechanics sometimes. Like, it did its job, and
I guess
sure did.
I mean, I like it
sure
because it's a visual counter that you can realize how good or bad you're doing.
So was the Doom counter. It was literally a counter.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Well, you're talking about the Doom and Eldritch.
Yeah.
Correct, but that one I felt sometimes was just negligible. Like there was multiple games in Eldritch where that thing never moves. Whereas this is gonna constantly happen at some point, like in one way or another. Like the news articles where it's like, hey, take 3 horror, put a Doom in your space. It's like, crap, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do either of those. But I don't know. I personally like it. I very much like it in the card game, so it works for me here. Let's see. What's your favorite thing about this game?
It's Arkham Horror.
It's Arkham Horror. Here's the actual question. Do you, now that we've played it more, we've played Eldritch and Arkham way more, but do you think, so the first part, it's going to be a two-part question. Do you like this better than those two?
I guess, yeah.
You do?
I guess.
Interesting.
I can't remember, honestly, what it's like to play Arkham Horror. When was the last time you played it?
Probably a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so I mean...
But we've played it so many times.
Right. I guess I like this one more than...
Interesting. Alright, well, your answers are boring.
Well, I mean, if we played it a couple years ago, I just don't really remember much about it, to be honest, because it has been so long since we've played it. We mainly play Mansions of Madness now, so I'm stuck on Mansions of Madness and how it works. So yeah, I guess I like it more.
Alrighty. For me, I don't. I do like this game, and I'm definitely going to keep it. But I'm trying to... I think Eldritch Horror is my favorite just because I like that openness more. I think it adds more role-playing. I think it has way more customization. Even the base core game, I felt like was just more engrossing. Even though I do think this is way more streamlined now. That is to say, the second part of that question, if your answer was no, is do I think over time will this one replace them? And I do. I do think at some point this will become more streamlined because all they literally have to do is add more scenarios, more locations, and you're good to go. Like, this is probably an easier one for them to add expansions to than the other ones. Because all you do is add way more cards, more clue cards, more all of that, and more scenarios, and then it starts to become a fantasy flight game where it's just like, all right, here's the streets deck, here's the downtown deck, here's the scenarios, and I mean, and then you're good to go. Here's more items and stuff like that. But yeah, I think over time they can just do. I think they can do so much more with this one that it revolves around the scenarios versus just all the encounters that you have. So I guess I do like that. I think that's it. I can't really think of anything else. I like the fact that every character has their own starting cards. The other ones had that, but they were just your generic cards. These are specifically tied to the characters. And yeah, I just think they did a lot of good things. So, do you have anything else? Yeah, I can't really think of anything either. Combat. I should actually mention that. Combat is so much better in this one. It is so streamlined and so smooth versus like, okay, so I need to I need to make a sanity check, and then, okay, so did I get that? Because Combat in Eldritch was fucking confusing. Arkham, it was a little bit easier, but it's like, I need to make a sanity check. Okay, so I take some horror there, and now I need to make a combat check, and minuses. This one is just, okay, this is how much damage they do to you. Bam, that's it. This one guy will always deal you, if he's engaged with you, which is also thematic, he deals one damage to you. Alright, you need to fight him. Make a strength check. There's no sanity, there's none of that. You just roll your strength against his modifier, and then each success is a damage. Great. And when you have a shotgun, apparently you can just fucking kill everything. So, when you're blessed and have a shotgun.
Yeah, it helps being blessed.
Oh yeah, and these dark packs. Oh yeah, conditions I think they very much need to bring in versus the dark pack. I like the conditions a lot in Eldritch. Like all the different conditions you can have. I think those are always thematic. These are probably really fucking bad.
I always like taking on a dark pact and
it's like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, when's it gonna happen?
Exactly. So yeah. Scale of 1 to 10, babe.
Give it a dang old 8.
Dang old 8. I think that's where I'm at too. I think it's probably sitting there with Arkham. Man, I just love all these games for different reasons, but I think over time this will surpass Eldritch. But Eldritch is still my favorite. This one is probably... I think I would rather bring this one out over 2nd edition. I would say that because it's one that's easier to teach and I don't have to haul a fucking crate around for all that stuff. But man, nostalgia for Arkham Horror 2nd edition is just there.
Yeah.
But If I were to be honest with myself, I would say that I do like this one better than second. So they are on the right path. This can be really, really good. But let us know what you think of Arkham Horror. What is wrong with me? Horror 3rd edition in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful every time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.